GENG just look nigh unstoppable, right? This goes back all the way to back when he was on Dumbmon. This is a player you can play for, and he will 1v9. And I think that's what we saw in game 1 as well. When he's put on the back foot, because his early game really isn't all that reliable, if his laners are struggling, then Tarzan fully takes over. But for me, that starts with how do the other lanes look, right? And I think we saw in that second game, if Chovy does get a single kill, as it happened there, from that point on, Shanks wasn't really able to make an impact on the TF, a pick that I still do think is strong, even though I'm pretty sure it has not won a single game, and we're not going to see it win a game in this series either.
Pretty sure it's 0-7 at the moment.
That would make sense.
MSI.
It's good, I swear. Next, just one more TF game.
Just one more.
Just one more TF game.
One ban I do want to point out that I actually do really like coming out of GENG is the Yorick, which we were kind of hoping that we'd see out of Flandre. I think it's been one of his best champions across this split, and Flandre always kind of finds these interesting, potentially, I don't even know what off meta is now in Fearless, but kind of picks where his opponents might not know the counter matchup and he gets to them first, sometimes in build as well as champion, but in terms of the Yorick, was a huge Yorick enjoyer. But on the side of AL, we have the old reliable, the Varus pick locked in for Hope.
Yeah, the last really powerful AD carry, or the last thing that we see banned out most games. Vi is available as well, though, if GENG do want to run like a Vi Ari here.
Yeah.
You want to go for something a little bit picky. You don't sound too enthused by the Vi there, Mal.
It's more so, I think that the Vi is a champion that has really been struggling, but this should be the main talking point, and I think we all kind of glossed over it, but the Taliyah being available, Chovy to me, absolutely mind-boggling performances on this. And even though I think the Vi is the type of pick you can draft into, right? We see things like the Wukong, like the Skarner, even the Trundle does come through. But that mid-jungle 2v2 is absolutely disgusting for GENG.
Yeah, and that's what makes these red side bans really interesting, right? Because we see the Maokai taken away, we see the Yorick taken away, we see the Ryze taken away, and it kind of does leave up, okay, what kind of power picks are we going to allow through, but trade for? The Vi-Taliyah combination is absolutely lethal. And then we see the Trundle locked in for Tarzan, which is something that he has excelled on. A lot of the kind of platonic ideal of an AL comp has sometimes been with Tarzan on this Trundle, able to stop and stymie engages from his opponents. And then we have the Flandre side. And so this is exactly like, these three picks are perfect into what AL are going to want to do, and then leaves up the support and mid pick for wherever they want to fit those in.
Could be an Aatrox angle here. We've often seen that picked into the Sion, but with this Trundle Sion rotation, you both pick away one of Sion's biggest counters. I was kind of wondering if they were going to leave it open, because GENG obviously can't pick it, because if you pick Sion in the Trundle, you're kind of asking to get dunked on. As there has been, I was actually thinking that they were going to commit to the Kalista, because it actually does have the ability to punch back against the Varus. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It's going to be the Imbessa for Keen, really playing into the scaling there, right? We saw this many times. Imbessa is a champion where at the very least you need 2, ideally 3 items. You then can completely take over games. And even though Sion's laning phase obviously applies a lot of pressure, you also, against the sustain of Imbessa, shouldn't really be able to actually threaten any kills.
Yeah, completely take over games, and then also with the picks already in this comp, right? She has so much ease with the CC that GENG already have to be able to lock down key targets in the backline. We see the Nico already taken away by GENG.
Yeah, they're looking for an R4 Renata here, I think. And even though I don't love blinding the Renata, I think you want to deny Varus Renata, because as a 2v2, that is insanely tough to play into. And Nico is the biggest counter we do often see into that champion.
Lucian banned away by AL. There's the Renata ban. Actually,
so they're banning the Renata themselves.
themselves. I guess knowing they want to go in, and it's quite telegraphed with the cease and desist, having a hostile takeover coming down on top of that would cause quite a lot of issues for GENG. Will AL now look for the Kalista ban, or having already seen it perhaps flashed by GENG as an option? Without the Renata, it's not as strong, but still very powerful AD carry in her own right.
Yeah, really powerful. Although, yeah, the Nico and the Renata have both been taken away, so they're gonna ban the Zeri instead.
That's a Ruler classic. Basically built for him, champion with an absolutely insane penta level of threat. which, as any Ruler fan will know, something he always calls for in the comms as soon as the opportunity arises. AD carry pick would be the most obvious here. Oh my god! This man is known for never ever doing things like this. The Ruler Ziggs to come out here. That's a curveball.
It is a curveball, but also, again, if they are able to make a lot of really early plays with this composition, obviously, yeah, Mbessa aside, you get that Ziggs out, you get him taking turrets super, super quickly. Yeah, the Vi Ziggs combo is absolutely awful to have to go up against. We see the Bard coming in for Kyle.
Wow, okay, Ziggs Bard on opposite sides of the Rift. LeBlanc hovered here for AL. Expect it not to be the pick. I will say there's a little bit of a dearth of engage potential from AL. You have the Unstoppable Onslaught, you've got a Chain of Corruption. I guess you have Tempered Fate now as well, which does give you a little bit more, but there's not a Leona or a Rel or an Alistair that can just jump in. It's going to be a Kali for Shanks in the mid lane into this Taliyah.
And that's kind of Shanks throwing down the gauntlet, right? And also AL throwing down the gauntlet, being like, we believe in our mid laner. I love Chronicler's face right now. He's not happy at all with that pick.
I think there are drafts where if there isn't a lot of CC, if there isn't a good way to disengage, the Akali can really pop off. But into the fact that you're playing into Vi, you're playing into Taliyah, which outside, or obviously in the laning phase is the 1 versus 1. I think Taliyah really does struggle once Akali comes online. But in the team fight, you're still going to really have to play around that E as the Rakan comes through for Duro here. So GENG, they are looking to just all-in blitz with this style of composition, right? The amount of backline threat that's there, kind of crazy. But the same can be said for AL.
Yeah, I'm really, really interested to see how both of these teams end up piloting these compositions, especially considering, to your point about Ruler and the Ziggs specifically, this isn't necessarily something that we see from him. However, it works really well in this comp. Also, Merc tries are going to go hard.
And for me, the X factor on AL is Kyle on that Bard. I think Bard is a champion that can warp games in many ways. There are a good amount of immobile carries on the enemy team.
And for the non-subscribers, you can join us back in 30 seconds. We'll see you soon. As you say, like, both compositions are quite explosive here. It feels very much about which team wins the early game, which team manages to get prio in their lanes, get the push in, control the map in the early game, because neither team has great comeback potential, although you never know.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to be either of these short-range characters trying to play into the amount of damage that's available on the enemy end. I'm kind of with you there, Medic.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about how snowball-y the first 2 games were. Kind of expecting to see it here as well. Really interested to see how these early skirmishes end up going. Again, especially if this GENG comp goes rolling and you're able to get that Ziggs out on the map early.
Guys, it's 6 TPs. That's
Let's
not good.
go!
That's not good for the action.
It's
Where are
6
my
TPs
combat subs?
and 2 unsealed spellbooks.
We got the unsealed spellbooks too.
We could have 8
TPs.
teleports at one point in this game. Just the sky lasers coming down as everyone...
Think about the movement. Think about the rotations. Not yet though, because they, you know.
I mean, they could
need
if
to act,
they really
well,
wanted to.
I guess they could. Need to wait for spellbook.
They do. Tarzan's going to get a ward in here on the Razor Beaks. Looks like it's just standard lines of scrimmage for both the teams. Kanye's going to start on his bot side, pathing up towards that Mbessa, whereas Tarzan on the Trundle is going to start on the top side. Keen with a nice little bit of fancy feet there, but we'll have the double dash to get away.
Yep, and both teams are going to know where these junglers are going to start. As we see Flounder and Keen headed up to the top lane, and we kind of have swapped starts, right? Vi is going to be heading up towards that top side, and then the Trundle is going to be pathing bot.
I don't think Shanks is going to have a huge amount of fun in the
No,
early
he is
phase
not.
in
The
this
first
mid lane.
6
This is gonna
levels
feel bad.
are not good. Chovy, 19 and 3 on Taliyah. So has been also, if I remember correctly, gone on the record and been like, yeah, I'm the best Taliyah. You know, I don't like to brag, but I'm going to brag. I think I'm the best Taliyah in the world, and given his recent form. I think that makes sense. At MSI, I think that the Zero game was kind of more what we were expecting. When it comes to the ult, not necessarily the most high impact, but the amount of damage and pressure he was able to generate very clearly was something that GENG heavily relied upon. As Keen, again, going to set up some deep vision, really wanting to make sure. I don't think that they spot Tarzan on this roam, though. Oh, never mind. He's going to look for a gank on Chovy.
Maybe just trying to get his flash out here. Frozen Domain comes out. Chovy flashes. There's the pillar to follow up. Chovy will get to the safety of his tower, but someone burnt in the mid lane there by Tarzan.
And really nice little move out of Tarzan. Again, being like, Shanks, you're going to have a rough time in this lane. I got your back. We're going to try to set you up for success as much as possible to get you through kind of the roughest part of this matchup.
Very early on, Tarzan making his presence known already as the health bars are getting low here, but don't be fooled. A lot of sustain here for either side. Cookie available as well here for both Keen and for Flandre. As we see Canyon now about done. Obviously Tarzan a little behind, but he'll be very happy with the fact that the flash has been taken. We'll have to see though, an actual punish does need to come out. And again, I think Shanks alone isn't going to be able to do it as possible dive being set up here. We'll see if Canyon actually is going to commit. Definitely wants his scuttle first.
Yeah, he'll want that first, but Keen is doing quite well.
Always a little bit risky to dive a Scion though, especially when he has a cookie. Even if you pull off the dive effectively, the zombie form comes out. It does look like Canyon's on his way across here. There's a ward that's going to spot him.
No.
Flandre down to 150 HP, pops the cookie early. Canyon hit with a decimating smash. No one tanking the tower now, but there's only one minion left. Oh, good flash from Flandre, but Canyon follows it perfectly. The zombie form will chase him. Canyon has to flash to escape.
That is 2 flashes for a flash, or rather 1 flash. Keen didn't actually end up having to for a flash and a kill. You still take that if you are GENG. Tarzan did set up some vision, but with the timing, not able to steal away the jungle camp.
Yeah, I think you absolutely take that if you're GENG. Again, like setting up this Ambessa early as well. Both junglers kind of paying attention to where they can be used the most on the map. And Shanks, I mean,
that's good.
Not doing so bad in this lane now that that wave was kind of reset for him.
Yeah, as in so many.
Oop, as I say that.
Melee versus. He still has TP,
no,
so.
he missed the cannon. He missed the cannon.
Oh,
it's
never
over.
mind. Okay, no.
If this was LCK, this is how I know we're not LCK, so we're not zooming in.
Oh,
true,
yeah, that's the classic. Not the case. And yeah, as long as you can stay within a wave, I think you're going to be happy. You just wanted to hit 6, and ideally your first item, that's when you really can start threatening, when you have the ability to actually get around the E, right? You have a lot more ways of trying to get on top of Chovy, and once you do, you should be in a decent amount of trouble. The fact that Canyon is getting early involved, as Tarzan did as well, though, I think a good sign for GENG.
Yeah, good sign for GENG, especially, again, I can't help but think of the power of this Taliyah Ziggs being able to control the map, especially in mid-game, and try to take down that first outer ring of turrets very, very quickly.
Satchel Charge obviously doing so much work on those towers. Alongside that, they just have huge burst. On someone locked down, you get a cease and desist into a seismic shove, into a Mega Inferno Bomb, and most of anyone's legends are going to die to that combination. Maybe only Tarzan and Flandre survived through it, and Flandre's not having the most fun time I've ever seen a Scion have on the top side. He's going to back and maybe just use the Unstoppable Onslaught to get back to this wave, as otherwise he's going to lose quite a few minions to this tower. Yep, can't recall.
Going to keep him in the lane for now, kind of forcing him to try and play for this next wave as well, as Tarzan will be spotted here. Like the timing here. Look at that flash from Chovy, still not available. And with the level 6 of Shanks, Hextech Alternator, the cookie in his inventory could have locked for some damage as Tarzan.
Still has the flash here. Canyon going in. There's the Weaver's Wall as well. Good stun onto Chovy. Hope comes in for a bit of damage. The seismic shove not connecting there. Shanks now looking for the flank. A good piercing arrow from Hope will take Duro down alongside Chovy, and in the end, GENG don't find the fight.
I see some question mark things. What's Crab doing there?
He went on a magical journey, man. Oh, good stun with the Cosmic Binding. Canyon now the target. Hits 6, though. Has the cease and desist. Bolt Breaker stopped by the pillar. Canyon will cease and desist forward, but Shanks is still on the chase. Another Cosmic Binding connects, and Canyon falls. He was too greedy for the Crab.
crucial getting Shanks ahead, right? Like this could potentially be a huge problem for GENG going forward, especially getting Shanks out of kind of the worst part of this matchup, right? Now he has a kill under his belt. He's going to be able to go back, reset, and kind of really nice job from AL stymieing, but also potentially GENG overreaching a bit here.
Bit of a fumble. I'm going to guess that the crab was knocked over maybe by the satchel. And Canyon, as confused as we are, tries to go for it, but with a really nice setup there from Cal. And the fact that GENG can't fully commit to this, because Chovy had already pivoted out of the fight, was already on a base, on his way back, and his direct lane opponent getting a kill when this is the matchup where, again, as you get later and later, just the mid lane is fine, but as soon as you start really getting into the side lanes and the Akali ever gets on top of you, you're in trouble. As AL, they are looking again.
Canyon doesn't have flash right now. Duro and Chovy fighting off towards the top side. Tarzan on the Drake should be able to secure this with his smite. And in the end, GENG started up the Drake, but anyone's Legends very happily will take that gift.
Yeah, and I was a little bit nervous about that just because Hope had used his TP, right, to catch that top side wave. So had the fight gone a bit worse, he would not have been necessarily in time to help them out. Ruler just continuously flashing the JDG emote.
There's neither support, level 6 yet. Duro finds a sidestep there. And the combo of this Rakan and Vi is going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting in these fights. Particularly Hope. Only defensive summoner is that flash. Obviously can use the teleport for extending the lane, but not going to be able to keep him safe in these type of situations if they do get on top of him.
Kyle can always go towards the Mikhails if he wants, right,
true.
to give a little bit of extra safety. He's got that Kindle Gem and the Fairy Charm right now. Grubs are up and Duro is making his way across there right now. Both the junglers on the top side of the map. In fact, all 5 players from both teams are pathing up towards this top side. I wonder if GENG want to take this battle.
I think GENG are going to be looking to go for the trigger pull, right? They are the ones that want to start the fight, blow a target up and go from there. Whereas AL may be looking to stow a Bard. That ultimate is available for Kyle and not for Duro.
Canyon goes in, the Vault Breaker doesn't hit Weaver's wall from Chovy to try and separate cease and desist. But now Canyon's on the wrong side of the wall from the rest of his team, and Hope just deletes him. Keen in the middle of the public's execution is only going to hit on Kyle, but he flashes forward and he will kill off Hope. Flandre now with the Decimating Smash. Chovy flashing up towards the top side. Live execution from Shanks for the follow-up. The 5-point strike, not enough, but Shanks will still find it. Dodges away from Duro as well. Keen's going to dally in around the blue buff, surviving for now, but should be chased down by Kyle and Flandre.
And GENG, they need to be synced up, but it's anything but. Canyon goes in, there's no quickness available yet, the damage isn't there, and Shanks runs rampant in the back line.
Yeah, and even though they were able to get a bunch of damage onto Hope here too, he ends up surviving. And again, Canyon just going in a little bit too early, and the Bard ult coming out of Kyle, absolutely huge here.
Also want to highlight that Ruler being this early as a Ziggs, you don't have the damage. If you do this and 2 items, that Varus is blown up, but instead, Shanks beautifully done there on the sidestep. Not feeling friend whatsoever, able to take down a lot of the damage. Keen getting taken down there as well, and this is looking a lot more reminiscent of that game number 1. Now 1K gold lead here for AL, objective going their way. And they're gonna be feeling good with Shanks sitting on a 2-0 on the Akali here.
Yeah, that's the big thing for me, right? Like, we wanted to get Shanks, or if you are AL, you want to get Shanks through that kind of rough laning phase. Make sure that Chovy doesn't have the same kind of map pressure that he had on the Azir in Game 2. But we're also seeing when these fights, again, are able to split up, AL have really nice target selection, and especially when they have champions like the Akali able to get into the backline onto Chovy, it ends up looking really, really good for them. They now claim the feat of warfare and have both the Grubs and First Drake.
I just need one more of those neutral objectives to claim the entirety of that feat of strength, or first tower, obviously, as they can get it through those means as well. For now, the game will slow down a little bit with no neutrals up on the map. It's still 90 seconds before we see our next Drake. Shanks still a little bit short of that first item, went for the Merc Treads early, which makes sense when you're an Akali into a ranged matchup, or at least into a mage matchup. You just want a little bit of extra resistances to keep yourself topped up in the lane.
We have seen Canyon struggle similarly in the last best of 5, or the last LCK best of 5 that they played. in the early games, just not on the same page as the rest of his team. There is, of course, for GENG, the promise of those late game itemizations, as that is the flash force there. Ruler getting caught out by Hope.
Tempered Fate not hitting from Kyle as he looked for Chovy. Chovy doesn't have flash, so it's always nice to just chuck it out. If you manage to land it on him, you have great follow-up with Tarzan there alongside Shanks. Flandre is clearing out the wave. And as you say, I think the hope for GENG right now is Keen in the side lane, has the Eclipse. He's really strong, about 400 gold lead for him. The question is, can they delay the game enough against an Akali, a Varus, a Trundle, who can actually force some of these plays?
And as we know, AL is not going to give them the time, so I think it's going to have to come down to like a single Dragon Steal, right? That can often be the breaking point between being on maybe an item and a half or 2 items. As we do see GENG seemingly aware of this, also looking to contest here on this next Dragon.
Yeah, Keen is heading up through river. They should have first rotation on it as it spawns.
There's no flash on Hope, so Canyon should have easier backline target access. We do see Shanks, I think, looking to get that base in, finish his first item, and make his way over as Chovy. Do they have the damage to take this down before the wall goes down?
I think the answer is most decidedly not. Unstoppable Onslaught coming out from Flandre as he looks for the backline. The Drake the target firstly here for GENG. Tarzan stepping forward, knocked back, the smite comes out. That is Canyon, Season 6 coming out as well as they look for the backline. Perfect execution. Canyon's gonna fall. Meanwhile, Shanks on the backline looking for a little bit more. He's on Chovy. Can chase forward, dodges the seismic shove, and Flandre takes the kill in the end. Shanks still going in, dodges the battle dance and the grand entrance as well. Keen trying to get in, but Shanks' fancy feet are just sublime. Decimating smash will hit Ruler, but no real follow-up.
Shanks styling on the, but GENG, the objective was get the Dragon, and they were able to do so.
Yeah, they were very successful on that. As you see, Shanks coming in with that belt for just in time for the fight. But yeah, they're able to end up getting the kill immediately. Tarzan goes down, but then watch Shanks on this back line. He's already in such a good position, and he is going to become a huge problem in these team fights going forward. Dodges every ability. I'm so happy that Shanks is having kind of these moments on the international stage. As a longtime LPL enjoyer, I've really been waiting for him to have this time, right? As you see that damage coming out in that team fight, did the most there, and it really gives this task of GENG to be able to keep their carries safe.
It's remarkable that it was actually Ruler ended up staying alive for that fight, able to do the most damage, also gone for an early Ludens, which always like to see. Is the type of game where I think Archangels, as we also see for Chovies, and that Seraph Shield is going to have a ton of value. As right now, that Dragon might end up being big for GENG, but it isn't going to change the fact that right now AL is the ones running the map. We'll see if GENG want to fully commit to the contest. And as I say that, Keen is TPing.
GENG looking for the battle again. Perfect execution available for Shanks. Public execution available for Keen. He jumps in. It's Kyle the target. There's the quickness as well, and Kyle is down. Juro will secure the kill. Meanwhile, on the backline, once again, it's Shanks, but they still have the Cease and Desist. He has to flash away from the Mega Inferno Bomb, and then dashes his way away as well with a perfect execution. The Rift Herald secured for AL. Weaver's Wall coming in from Chovy. Seismic Shove does not connect. Flandre on the front line. Unstoppable Onslaught won't be enough. Hope has to flash the wall. Keen's going to flash to follow him. Flandre tracing the rest of GENG away. Keen's going to die. Hope goes down as well. In the end, AL do get the Rift Herald, but the fight is anything but clean.
Yeah, AL get the Herald, but GENG win the fight, especially with, I love the follow-up Weaver's Wall on the back half of that from Chovy. And this is GENG fighting their way back, as usual, as we've seen from them, able to set up this fight, and also able to kill off Kyle really early on.
The big thing here is that they don't actually utilize the ultimate from Canyon, right? So the moment that Shanks goes into the backline, even though somehow he survives, he isn't able to do the damage that AL needs him to do, and then the utility from the Bard isn't there. Chovy, I thought that he went too deep. Clearly, trust the rest of the team to keep him alive. And then Keen going in, I think a little bit too crazy. Could have taken this, instead going in on Hope.
Yeah. I mean, I love seeing this from GENG. I think it's fun. Do you not
Full
think it's fun?
Well, yeah, but I also like winning. And I think that they did their job. It's fine, just back off.
And they've even had the gold in the game. AL had about a 2,000 gold lead earlier on, now down to only 200.
They gave the shutdown to Shanks. It's not good.
Yeah, but Keen, in his matchup, is still ahead.
Well, yeah, that is true, but I feel like the Shanks situation is still a big problem for GENG. Even in the last game where he got targeted, he still made it out, got a bunch of cooldowns, lived, and got a shutdown.
He is 4-on-1.
Yes, Emily,
And he is
I
going to
am
be a
aware.
problem.
So maybe you want to recant your earlier statement?
He is going to be a problem.
He is. Still fun to see from both these teams. They're fighting neck and neck throughout this series. Last two games, a little bit more stompy than this one. I'm glad to see that around the 20-minute mark, we're pretty even between the two. Next Drake up in 40 seconds' time as 2 items begin to be completed. Actually, it's only Keen who's managed to get that second item finished. The Black Cleaver and the Eclipse already in his inventories.
Yeah, and I really like this line of vision that you see kind of established for AL, controlling this river ahead of this next Drake.
Ooh, and it's Chemtech. Haven't talked about the Soul yet, but obviously a lot of plans available. Also for champions like Mbessa. I think in particular going to be salivating at the thought of that. But even a champion like the Scion, so much shielding that will come through. A lot of extra playmaking potential there, but it looks like with the position of Flandre, unless he wants to commit a TP, GENG pretty ahead, and there it is.
Of course he wants to commit a TP, why wouldn't he? Bolt Breaker coming out, grand entrance as well. Chovy caught with a tempered fate, but Shanks unable to get on the backline right now. Redemption coming out as GENG are able to force Flandre low. He has to flash to avoid that Mega Inferno Bomb. Riftel charging through mid though. GENG are going to try and answer it.
I wish I hadn't finished my sentence. That TP wasn't great. The charge will come through, but it looks like GENG is going to have prio. Do note that Flandre could still look to ult back, but I think AL going to decide the better over than give this objective. It's only a second Drake after all.
Yeah, they're going to see this Drake a little bit of a optimistic TP.
TP sucks.
Very
coming in
sucks.
from Flandre. There, as we see AL now rotating towards this top side of the map, get a really nice amount of damage on this top side turret, actually able to take all of it. Yep.
That's gone.
Yeah, with the frozen domain as well, it's just so quick. Quickness coming out, though. Double TP immediately invested from GENG as Duro looking to dance around this. Keen trying to fight it as well with the pillar going down. Keen continues to chase Chovy with the Weaver's Wall onto Shanks, but the unstoppable onslaught from Flandre will distract GENG enough. Canyon has the Mega Blast Cone. Bolt Breaker across would get him in range, but in the end, anyone's legend able to disengage.
The Giga Cones get them out, and that's 2 actual TPs invested. I think GENG looking for a knockout punch, trying to punish that topside push, but instead it might end up with AL getting tempo on Otacon.
Yep, as we see Shanks TPing down on that bot side of the map, and both Flandre and Kael are headed that way as well.
Hope's going to TP
clearing out any vision
into mid lane to try and get them that prio. Duro, no quickness for him, just dashes away with the grand entrance. Bit of vision around the wall here. We'll spot Kael and Flandre as they try and make their way into the river.
Do really like both supports going for redemption here. Both of these comps are so front-loaded when it comes to the damage. Being able to stay alive, getting extra rotations of spells off is a big deal. As neither team, I think, wants to be the one that starts it, because on one hand, an Akali in the backline when you don't have resistances versus a Ziggs just pelting you from afar. I don't think either sounds very good.
Yeah, no, they're just going to kind of be scrapping over vision here. And again, scrapping over mid lane prio. As we see a lot kind of at this point in the game.
Positioning and vision.
We're not even scrapping. We're just kind of going back and forth.
Well, I'd argue it's metaphorically scrapping, you know? They're just not actually doing any...
Scrapping inside my head?
Any fighting, yes.
Half the battle is always mental.
It's true.
Thank you. Thank you, Medic.
With no
even
TP.
in a game like
here
this,
with you guys. This is fun.
And I'm not gonna lie, we have seen teams right after a stomp on either side. I think for really, this goes for any region, not be able to bounce back. Both these teams, fortunately, in this game free, giving us what we wanted.
Yeah.
It's an actual game.
Good old scrapping. Canyon ball breaking forward, and we're getting control of this river right now with no TP on Flandre right now. I think we're just going to see a slight delay before AL really are willing to take a fight. Keen has his, so would be able to answer if anyone's Legends decided to battle.
And look at some of the spikes that have come in. Bloodletter's Curse for Chovy, Horizon Focus for Ruler, and then on the flip side, Storm Surge for Shanks. That man is looking to one-tap people. Hope also going for the Edge of Night, so a little bit extra safety for him, even being Lafella de Veras. This isn't the type of game where you ever get to walk up with as much backline dive as GENG have.
GENG looking to, again, get this mid prio. If they are able to get prio in a lane with the Ziggs, again, turrets just go down so quickly. But yeah, right now, I don't think either team wants to start Otacon without at least bot prio, if not bot and mid prio.
Especially since it's reducing your resistances, right? So unless Flandre is tanking it...
Maybe you should tell some teams that...
Oh, Duro?
Okay. I come from EU, we're very used to throwing at Otacon. TP coming in here from Kyle. Duro was fighting over the Scuttle Crab, but in the end, Tarzan is the one that wins that scrap. And, obviously, it was an unsealed spellbook teleport from Kyle. He's switched over to heal now as Shanks and Chovy continue just to trade down towards this bottom side. The Otacon is just mad at Chovy for some reason.
Otacon is not winning the battle. He's actually scrapping.
Got Chovy! Poor guy, man. Keen's going to be able to take the top lane tower. As much as Flandre can defend, he can't stop the push coming out from Keen.
Makes sense. He sees Chovy taking all these minions. That's personal.
How dare you?
I know.
He says. Yeah.
It's rude. Otacon now.
Those are his brethren.
Seemingly calmed down.
I don't know if
just
they
a
actually
big
are.
minion.
I have
just
no
a minion
idea.
on steroids.
It looks like...
Aren't they
do
different factions?
you guys remember the
like
giant wraith?
Yes.
Forever ago, we called it
ghost,
Papa Wraith.
Spooky ghost,
Yeah.
Anyway. I'm pretty sure Otacon is a soldier that's possessed by a demon. I'm pretty sure that's what the lore is.
That's fun. I do not know lore whatsoever.
Like Mordekaiser, something to do with that. There was a great comic about it in the client. I'm sure you can find somewhere on the internet. For now, though, let's focus on what's happening on the Rift itself.
We are scrapping over vision.
That is a mental damage ignite that comes through there from Duro. Just making sure that Tarzan knows whose jungle it is, but the ambush control is there for Tarzan. This could be a big fight if GENG is able to get a soul point, and Otacon is right there. And GENG need to retake control of River, because AL are set up nicely.
Keen has his teleport. He's going to TP down towards that bot lane tri-bush. The Dragon already down at 5,000 HP. A flank position as well for Ruler, but he's caught out by Shanks and immediately assassinated! Shanks him! As Duro now with the quickness can only run and hide. Keen the next target. Duro comes back in and it's a double for Shanks. Anyone's Legends collapse immediately.
Dragon into potentially Otacon. They should just rotate immediately over. What a play from Shanks, and also what a setup from AL. Again, making sure this Akali gets out of the early laning phase, is able to immediately, in this particular fight, hop directly onto Ruler, and this was also the problem we had in game one, right? When AL were able to jump and get that early pick, they then will just run through you in a team fight.
But in game one, it felt a lot more excusable, but here, Ruler's pathing. You know where they are. You can see with the wall that you're not in a safe position. So him getting caught out here, I think, an unforced error in game one. There was the caveat of there was so much dive, but here, just gets taken down. GENG then is the one getting engaged on. Neither of these comps deal very well with that. Nicely done by Kyle as well to force multiple flashes. And that is a big strike there for AL. Dragon and Otacon in one fell swoop.
AL were sitting at about 8 flower petals before that. GENG were at 21, and now that's evened out between the two of them. So a lot of adaptive force acquired for AL alongside that experience, and we'll get more as they get kills throughout the rest of the game. It's still only a 1,000 gold lead, but Shanks the man of the moment here for anyone's Legend.
6-0-1 on this Akali in a really good position. We see Chovy kind of posturing here for Vision. I was wondering if he was potentially going to go for a play with Canyon there.
And all these fights really have just come down to who gets blown up first.
Yep.
It's been Kyle. Last fight it was Ruler. And all these fights I think are going to remain as one-sided as they are, particularly with the damage dealers being as fat. Shanks
Nice
could be in
from Keen,
trouble.
waiting for Shanks. Public execution doesn't connect as Shanks dodges down and Keen predicts up.
And this is going to give AL kind of free reign to potentially go behind this Baron pit, but just clear out vision, set up some more vision on this top side.
Flandre doesn't take damage.
Yeah, he's yet to actually take any damage. Flashes away from the Vault Breaker coming out from Canyon. Thought perhaps it would have been CC for long enough.
Two people showing on bot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if AL want to at least threaten the Baron, maybe see if they can get a catch.
I mean,
Tarzan starting it up.
TP coming out immediately from Chovy, but that isn't an unsealed spellbook teleport. That's a real one, and because of that, AL very happy just to back off. They got the summoner out, and the play on the bot side for GENG didn't materialize into anything.
Yeah, big win there. I'd argue trading a TP for a flash TP at this point in the game, I think a lot more fair, especially for Sion. I think Flandre will be fine without it. But the objective, not in a position to be taken, which means that this unsteady stalemate will continue.
We're just gonna keep clearing out vision. Try to get mid lane prio.
And
Maybe get those mid tier ones down. It's you know, 28 minutes about.
Yeah, especially with a Ziggs in the game. The fact that we are currently looking at a single turret taken for either side is not what I was expecting.
And I think that does speak to how AL have had some really good vision coverage in this game, I think.
Yeah.
But then additionally, in a lot of these fights, there hasn't been a way for GENG to necessarily set the map like they want, right? And really rotate this Ziggs around to try to take down a lot of these turrets.
And because I think the place you'd look at is mid lane. With Shanks being melee, it's like, oh, we can move the Ziggs there relatively early. The tower should be quite low. But because Shanks has got into such a strong spot individually,
you don't want to be in a lane with him.
Yeah, you don't want to lane against him. So he's just able to match up into Chovy in a side lane. Hope has good enough wave clear that Ruler can never get close enough to the tower to actually do too much damage. But Ruler is now at 3 items on this Ziggs. The Void Staff, Horizon Focus, and that Luden's Companion complete.
Lack of Liandry's does mean that getting through Tarzan and Flandre is still going to be quite hard for him. Instead, with this build, you're basically looking to one-tap one of Shanks, Hope, or Kyle, right? This is just pure burst. And this is also, to be fair, the kind of game where might just be try and get as much damage off before you die. Not in the way that happened in the last fight. That was just doing no damage and dying is obviously not ideal. Was Chovy, actually, because of all the kills that Shanks has gotten, plus the early impact that Shanks has found in the fight, substantially behind. It's really just Keen who does now finish his G8. That's a big buy.
That's
means
huge.
that he can go in, really use those double health bars as a resource to put a lot more threat on the AL backline in what I assume will be the fight for Soul Point in about 15 seconds.
Yep, both Baron and then this Drake about to be up, as we see. Again, posturing for trying to get some mid prio up. Tarzan Pillar.
Duro safe enough on that Rakan to be able to dodge away. Cosmic Binding hits from Kyle. He's switched to Exhaust, which is why we saw him ghosting in the lane. Flandre's trying to match Chovy down towards that bottom side. Shanks here with the rest of AL. No vision, really, at all for GENG. They're trying to get it through the mid lane, put double control wards down. Chovy now stepping in as well. Seismic Shove not connecting. Keen dashing forward onto Tarzan. Flandre forced down towards the bottom side by Canyon. Tempered Fate only hits onto Duro. Canyon still chasing Flandre out, but he still doesn't take any damage. Good Explosive Minefield, though, from Ruler will keep AL from really being able to enter the river again. Canyon down on the Drake, 4,000 on it. Tarzan turning onto Keen, but he has a GA. Unstoppable Onslaught goes between the uprights. Seismic Shove is going to connect. Canyon dashing back in. Keen being kept up towards the top side, but AL are scattered. Flandre down, goes into the zombie form. The quickness coming out as well. Duro chases forward, and GENG have delayed for long enough. The Weaver's Wall in from Chovy, the dash away from Shanks. Unraveled Earth will get the stun onto him, and Keen continues to chase. Shanks has to flash away, but AL have already lost 3.
And the hero there is Keen, right? He distracted.
Keen goes in, Hope goes down. Shanks the only one standing from AL.
Just as I'm saying, the hero of that fight was Keen. He distracted and took so much damage while Flandre was not able to do the same for AL. AL essentially end up leashing this Drake for GENG. GENG take it, they take the fight, and now they're going to take Baron.
The poke is always going to be favored for GENG because they can sustain a lot more, and with both that Talia as well as the Ziggs, as long as you hold off on actually pulling the trigger, as we're going to see soon in the replay, I'm sure, GENG are happy to just sit there and poke away. And as you highlight, Keen, the thorn in the side of AL. They need to use resources on him, but I want you to also look at the follow-up that comes through from Duro on this Rakan, because he's able to extend this fight, not giving a lot of counterplay over, as follows up there, and then right here, turns it onto Tarzan as well, just clips him with the charm, the knockup comes through, and without that front line, GENG can just run amok in AL's backline.
We also see this explosive power coming out of Rulers. Ziggs, as Flandre is in trouble again.
The Weaver's Wall separating him from the rest of AL. Chovy will take the kill. The gold swing 4,000 now in favor of GENG, well, 3.5. And they've shown us, like, if they can have these slightly more scattered fights without Shanks on a flank, it's really difficult for anyone's Legend actually to get on that backline.
Without Shanks on a flank, with Keen threatening to be able to dive on key targets from AL, and then also with Ruler, just be able to free fire these bombs as Ziggs through the backline. He does so much damage to both people and turrets, or to both champions and turrets, rather.
Oh yeah. And Chovy pushing mid, we saw there as well. Ruler just using his ultimate to gain to clear rather a wave in mid. That mid lane turret still standing. Satchel used. The Shanks should be able to get back to his turret, or not.
Assist. Duro's going in with the quickness as well as they look for the chase onto Shanks, who's popped the stopwatch. Knocked back with the seismic shove as well as Shanks just doesn't get an opportunity to move. GENG have woken up in this game, and AL just cannot answer them. Duro dashing forward, getting onto Hope, knocked back with the satchel charge as well as Keen continues to chase. Flandre in the middle of 5. What can you do in the face of so much hate? GENG will lose 1. They'll clean up the fight and they'll look towards the Nexus.
Duro in his first international, popping off on that Rakan, able to follow up on every engage. And GENG, with this Red Bull Baron power play, it's not even going to time out, it looks like.
Nope.
No one's alive on AL. GENG about to get to match point.
They just rip control of the game away from anyone's Legend, and they are 1 game away from their 21st series in a row.
This is exactly what makes GENG so dangerous. This is why they are the favorites to win this tournament. You give them a small window and they completely took over a game that was looking very back and forth for a really long time. I thought AL did a really good job of stopping, again, that initial Zig setup, but once